We're going to answer the question you asked about where do I go to get personalized help, accurate, individualized hormonal issues addressed and resolved that takes into account the physical, emotional, and spiritual needs of each woman. Who wants to know the answer to this? This is a great question submitted on our One Thing Health survey that you guys answered. Thank you so much for asking that question. So that's what we're going to answer today. So yes, it is clear that everybody is scrambling to try to find the answers. We all know that in our regular neighborhood doctor $30 copay office, we are not going to get the answers to our hormonal and weight and energy questions over 40. How many of you know that's true? Give me a shout out here on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching this. You know it's true. What's going to happen if you go complaining to your doctor? Hey, I can't sleep. Hey, I'm tired. Hey, I have no sex drive. Hey, my periods are crazy. You're going to leave with a fistful of prescriptions that may or may not help your symptoms. They're certainly going to try to mask them, but they're not going to get at the root cause of what's making you overweight, tired, and all the things at midlife. Once women, we hit over 40, we have these problems that mainstream medicine has no answers for. How do I know this? I know this because that's how I was trained as a board certified OBGYN, and that's how I practiced for decades because that's what I was taught, and that's the medicine I used on myself. I had an entire pharmacy in my bathroom, pill for every ill, and had a surgery for every symptom, and could not lose the 100 pounds I needed to lose, could not get off over 5 prescription medications with the medicine I was taught in medical school and residency. So I had to get a bigger toolbox, and that's what I did to figure out how to help women at midlife over 40 and beyond to actually heal. And I had to learn to speak the language of hormones. Yep, that's what you need to learn how to do. So where do we go? You can't go to your neighborhood $30 copay HMO doctor because they don't know. That's not how they're trained. It's not their fault. You have to become the CEO of your own health, and you have to get educated enough to understand and speak the language of hormones. So that the language of hormones are your programmers and your regulators, right? Think teachers and principals in the school. They're the ones that keep everything running. Your hormones do that in your body. So when systems aren't doing what they're supposed to do, they're not unpacking fat cells and taking the fat out to burn it for fuel, then it's your regulators that are a problem. It's your hormones that are the problem. So you've got to get enough education to understand how to speak the language of hormones. And you will know how to take into account your physical, emotional, and spiritual needs, right? It's up to you to know how to integrate that because, frankly, in medical school, there's no training on spirituality and integrating the spirituality of a woman into her care plan. But guess what? You are a spiritual being having a human experience. So if your spirituality is left out of your care plan, guess who's not going to experience the optimum, vital, healthy aliveness that's possible for them after 40? You. That's right, you. So you've got to address this part of you. It gets to the energy flow, chi, prana, whatever you want to call it, throughout your body. So I'm doing a free training for you all this Thursday, teaching you about these things. If you're over 40 and you're a woman and you've got health problems, those are the 3 qualifications to learn how to fix it at my free masterclass this Thursday. You can sign up on my website, KieranDunstonMD.com, and get on my email list, and you'll get an invite to the masterclass this Thursday. And I'm going to teach you why you're stuck where you are, why you lay awake at night when you get into the bed, tossing and turning, and you can't go to sleep, and you're like, whose body is this anyway? I feel like an alien in my own skin. How many of you can relate to that? Anybody? Let me know. I see eyeballs all over the place. I see people here on Instagram. I see people here on Facebook and YouTube. Let me know who's here. I see Michelle, AK Paradise, Mari Diaz, Diva Organic. I see Suze, Deanna, a bunch of you here. Give me a shout out. Let me know who's here. Say hey. If you have any questions about what we're talking about, I'm answering my One Thing health questionnaire that I submitted, asked you guys to let me know through my email list, which I do periodically, like what's troubling you with your health? What do you want to learn about? What do you want to know about? What's troubling you with your hormones? And we got over 150 responses. So thank you very much. And if you want to be included in submitting your opinion, what do you want to learn about, then definitely sign up for my list because you'll be invited to do this. You don't have to put your email or name on any of these questions. I don't know who most of them were submitted by. So it really helps me to know, because I committed my life over 10 years ago to helping other women over 40 find the truth about their health and learn how to speak hormone so that they could lose the weight, regain the energy, have a sex drive, grow hair, think thoughts, have a good mood, right? Do all the things that are really our birthright after 40 that seem to be so elusive for so many of us, right? Is that you? Let me know. Or am I the only one who is suffering with this? Because if y'all don't need my help or need any information, then I don't want to waste my time. But I know, because I talk to you guys every day, that I wasn't alone, and I'm not alone, that this is a struggle. So thank you for filling out the questionnaire, and thanks for showing up. So really, you need to learn how to speak the language of hormone, the 7 main metabolic drivers. Sure, it's about your sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. And I have a great podcast interview coming up that I recorded the interview yesterday. The podcast is now called The Hormone Prescription, and it's about natural solutions for your midlife metabolism, weight, and energy problems. So we talk exactly about that. If you haven't checked it out, it's available on iTunes and where you get your podcasts. So definitely search for it and check it out. And we have a whole episode on the 7 major metabolic driving hormones, what they are, why they're broken for you, and what you need to do about it. So most women know that their sex hormones are kind of unbalanced past the age of 40. Mari says, waking up at 4 a.m. feeling hot, right? Not okay. Not what should be happening. You deserve to sleep all night. If you're waking up, anybody else waking up in the middle of the night feeling hot, give me a shout out and let me know. So Mari, let Mari know that she's not alone. That was me many years ago. For a period of time, I would wake up in the middle of the night. I was hot all the time. And then I would wake up in the middle of the night. And I used to do surgery, hysterectomies, laparoscopies when I practiced regular OBGYN. And oh my gosh, they would already keep the operating room at 60 degrees, which is refrigerator cold. But then they would have to put an ice towel around my neck, and I would be dripping sweat. They would have to pat my forehead so I wouldn't drip sweat into the surgery field, because that's a contamination problem. So it was so hot, I would just walk into the OR and be pouring. Well, I didn't know that this was because of these, not only my sex hormones, but these other major metabolic driving hormones. Who else can relate to me? Like, you're just hot all the time, and then you wake up in the middle of the night sweating. This is a thing, right? And it's not okay. I know, ladies, that we make light of it and we kind of laugh about it, and we make jokes and, oh, I need a fan. Oh, I'm hot. Oh, it's menopause, right? But it's really not funny. It's what's happening in your body. It's not funny at all. Is that your hormone deficiency? These hormones are going down. Usually it's progesterone in the 40-year-old age range, and then estrogen in the 50-year-old age range, and testosterone can go down at any time. So it can be contributed to by any of these. And it's your body's receptors for these hormones that are usually have the hormone sitting on them, screaming out for hormone, going, I'm hormone deficient. But the question is, are you listening, and do you understand the language of hormones, or are you just oblivious and making a joke out of it and saying, oh, it's just menopause, it's no big deal? But there's nowhere else in medicine that we actually discount deficiency this way. So if you're calcium deficient, are you sitting there having muscle twitches thinking, oh, I'm just calcium deficient. I'm having muscle twitches. Isn't that funny? No, nobody does that. So why do we do that when we're hormone deficient? Why do we sit around laughing when sweat is dripping down? Oh, it's just menopause. It's not funny. It's no funnier than having muscle twitches because you're calcium deficient at all. Or maybe you're magnesium deficient. And when you try to, your muscles need magnesium to contract, and you go to work out at the gym and you have no energy to move your muscles. You try to do a bicep curl and you're like, I can't do it. Do you laugh and go, oh, it's just because I'm magnesium deficient? If you have a practitioner who's savvy enough to check your magnesium levels and know that you're magnesium deficient, is that a joke? And then you're like, oh yeah, isn't that funny? I can't lift this 8-pound weight because I'm magnesium deficient. No, you don't laugh about it. You find out what the problem is and you do something about it. So it's the same with the hormones. Whether you're waking up at 4 a.m. and you are sweating, or you're sweating all day long, or you can't put two thoughts together and you're walking around the house and you've got your glasses on your head and you're going, where did I put my glasses? Where did I put my glasses? I know they're here somewhere. And then you happen to notice that they are on your head and forget that you put them there. Or your mood is really tanked and you get irritable and have a bad attitude with people in your life and your relationships are suffering. Or maybe you don't even want to participate in activities. I know this was my situation. I felt so crummy in my own skin. First off, I weighed 243 pounds. So I didn't want to go anywhere because nothing fit. And I was going to have a muffin top or whatever you want to call all over top. It was just a disaster. So I didn't feel good about myself. So I didn't want to go anywhere. So if people asked me to an event, it was an automatic, yeah, no, I'm busy, because I didn't want to go because I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like how I felt. I felt so irritable because my nerves were raw because they didn't have their soothing hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, all the things, to keep me happy. So irritability and snapping and not feeling like myself. I know am I talking to myself here? Because I know I'm not alone, because people tell me every day, but I understand if maybe you don't want to post on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you're watching. Oh my God, OMG, that's me. I totally relate. But it's important to be authentic and vulnerable. And that's why I share my story. That's why I shared my story about during lockdown that I gained 37 pounds and I'm now down 30 pounds, right? Because other women need to know that they're not alone. If you gained, I think the average they said was 15 pounds people gained during lockdown. Mari says very forgetful too. Who else is very forgetful? I know Mari's not the only one. Give me a shout out here and say like, me too, me too. So, during lockdown, people stopped doing stuff and I just stopped doing everything and totally went into fight, flight, freeze, nervous system, and gained weight. But the thing is that I'm not worried about it because I know the path back. So like I said, I already lost 30 of it and the 7 will come off very easily. But AK Paradise says, love your podcast. Thanks for all the valuable information. Thanks for being real. You are so welcome. Thank you for that comment. I so appreciate it. If you have not written a review on iTunes, I invite you to do so, AK Paradise, because it really helps other women to find us. There are so many women out there. There are 50 million menopausal women in our country, in the USA right now. 2 million women each year make the transition. And before the transition, there are about 10 million women going through the perimenopause at any given time, because it can last up to 10 years. So all told, you're talking about 60 million women suffering with hormonal imbalances that make them think they're crazy. So I call this, get ready for it, the ultimate gaslight. How many of you know what gaslighting is? Give me a shout out, give me a thumbs up, heart, whatever, wherever you're watching. Who knows what gaslighting is? Who can tell me what gaslighting is? Post it in the comments, because I don't know if I need to explain what gaslighting is or not. And we're talking about medical gaslighting. And if you haven't heard of that term, it is a thing. I thought that I made up that term and then I Googled it and I realized I didn't make it up. So, there's a lot of talk. Deanna raised her hand. She's like, I know what that is. So there's a lot of talk about narcissism lately. If you haven't heard about it, narcissism is like where people, this is how I heard it described on my friend's podcast the other day. She said, something's going crazy with my mic. Can you guys hear me on Instagram? I don't know if I'm not doing it right because it's doing something funky. All right, it stopped. Okay, so here's what I heard on my friend's podcast, Natalie Hodson, in case you want to check it out. So she was talking with her girlfriends about guys they had dated who were narcissists. And this is the best description of a narcissist I ever heard. A narcissist will burn your house down to warm their hands. They don't care that it's your house. All they care is that their hands get warm. And so it's this kind of act of people being extremely selfish and doing for themselves and not caring about you. Guess what? This is happening in medicine right now. So the reason why people are looking on social media and online for people who can guide them to health and help them balance their hormones and lose weight and do all the things that we deserve to do to have optimum health and feel good in our own skin is because the medical establishment isn't serving us, because that's not how we doctors are taught. So I had to go find my own way, but it's this form of medical gaslighting. So with narcissists, basically you'll say something like, when you're an hour late and you invite me to dinner, this is an example, I really feel upset and angry by that. Is it possible that you could be on time? And they will gaslight you. And that comes from a movie called Gaslight, where they'll basically act like that didn't happen, number one, or you're wrong for being upset about it when they step on your toes, number two. And so that's what gaslighting is. One, what you said happened didn't happen. I wasn't an hour late. Like, they don't take responsibility. They go, yeah, well, instead of you say that, and then they say, well, last week you missed my mom's birthday, right? That's not even addressing the fact that they were an hour late. It's not admitting they were wrong. That's a form of gaslighting. Or that you shouldn't. They might say, oh, yeah, well, I was caught late at the office, so you really shouldn't be upset about it. That's gaslighting too, saying you shouldn't have those feelings of upset that you have. Well, in medicine, we got gaslighting going on because what happens? I love the Golden Girls. Who loves the Golden Girls with me? Tell me I'm not alone. I freaking love the Golden Girls. So sometimes if I just want to zone out and I need a little love, I'll watch an episode of the Golden Girls. So I was watching it, and there's this episode where Dorothy, she is tired all the time and no doctors can figure out what's wrong with her. And she goes to specialist, and they tell her the same thing. So in this last one, she goes to the big specialist in New York, as if being in New York made you better than anywhere else, which I find kind of insane. And the doctor tells her, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. And this is what happens to women at midlife who go to the doctor and say, hey, doc, I forget why I went into a room. I'm irritable and snap at my family members for no reason. I wake up in the middle of the night sweating, Mari, right, and hot. I can't lose this 30 pounds around my middle that's been with me. I don't care if I ever have sex again. I want to lay down and take a nap every afternoon. I have uncontrollable cravings for sugar and salt. And what's wrong with me? And what does the doctor, what do we doctors tell you guys? It's normal for your age. We might say, oh, I'll run some labs. And then when the labs come back, what do we tell you? Oh, they're all fine. You're fine. With the weight, we just tell you, oh, eat less and exercise more. We basically tell you it's your fault. This is all gaslighting, y'all, because there are reasons why you have every single one of these symptoms, a la the question that you lovingly submitted. Thank you for submitting it. You are not crazy. You are not crazy. You have been in your body for how many decades? You tell me, how many decades have you been in your body? most of us 4, 5, more. You know yourself better than you know anyone else. You look in the mirror, you immediately know, oh, what's that dark spot? I didn't have that before. You know it's a problem. You know you need to do something about it. There's no confusion about what's optimal for you versus what you're experiencing now. Get very clear on that and get very grounded in your reality, because when you go to the doctor and they tell you it's normal for your age, you just need to eat less and exercise more, and you're reviewing in your head, geez, I've done every diet. Most of the people I work with have done 5 or 6 diet or exercise programs. I don't overindulge or eat. I do move my body, and yet I can't get rid of this. You fill in the blank, 10, 30, 50, 100, 200, 500 pounds, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? You're like, I'm not a glutton and I'm not sitting around on my ass doing nothing. And to be told that you just need to eat less and exercise more, that is gaslighting. So get real in touch with your reality of who you used to be in your body, in your own skin, how it used to feel to be you. What's going on now where you're like, I know something's wrong, and trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Nobody knows you better. No one will ever know you better than you know yourself. And stop listening to the gaslighting and going to people who are telling you there's nothing wrong. Your labs are normal. You just need to eat less and exercise more, AKA it's your fault. These are all gaslighting statements, and they're lies. So my board certification in OBGYN and practicing for over a decade OBGYN did not give me the answers to my midlife craziness, my midlife 100-pound weight gain, my midlife insomnia that turned into sleeping all the time, my midlife no sex drive, irritable bowel, gastritis, depression, anxiety, hair loss, all the things that I know you guys are experiencing. I had to go elsewhere and learn to speak the language of hormones. Your hormones are your regulators in your body. They program all your cells. Do this now. Burn fat for fuel so I have energy, so I don't want to take a nap in the afternoon. So I have energy so I can build hair and eyelashes. So I have the energy to think thoughts and have an even mood to be happy. So I can heal your gut so you can digest food and poop every day, which is something that eludes a lot of women all globally, but in the US particularly. So you got to get a grip on your reality and stand in that truth. I know something's wrong. And when people tell you that, oh, there's nothing wrong. Oh, it's normal for your age. Oh, it's just your fault. You stand in that reality and you go, nope, I know. And you go to find the people who can get you where you want to be. That's why I'm doing this masterclass for you guys on Thursday, because when I discovered this just over 10 years ago, I actually retired from OBGYN because they're great docs who can deliver babies and do pap smears and hysterectomies, but there aren't that many docs who know this language, who can help a woman whose health is off kilter at midlife to come back to herself. So that's why I dedicated my life to doing this ever since. And why I do free trainings like I'm doing on Thursday for you, teaching you how to speak the language of hormones. What is it that you're missing? What do you need to know that you don't know that is keeping you stuck in this place where you're like, whose body is this? And like, what's happening right now? So definitely sign up for my email list on my website, KieranDunstonMD.com, or you can click the link on the top of whatever page you're watching this and select the masterclass, and you can sign up there. AK Paradise says, I want to be optimal, not normal, because I'm getting old. Well, so this is another thing, old is a state of mind. There are people who live to 147 years of age. So rethinking what we call old is another thing. If you say you're old, guess what? All your cells are listening and they hear you. And then they repeat back like, oh, I'm old. I guess I don't function well. So I'm going to ask you to eliminate that from your vocabulary. If you're with me on this page, if you listen to my podcast, you know I talk about this stuff all the time. So your body is a conscious living thing, right? It's not just a hunk of meat. It's consciousness. And so it's intelligent consciousness. So it knows what you're saying to it. So I would definitely do some affirmations in the mirror around age. And, and don't ever call yourself OLD. Like that's a 4-letter word. But we all should be striving for optimal. Normal is what 95% of us have. We got about 5 more minutes in our live, and then I have to jump off for a meeting with my hormone mastermind people. So if you have any questions, post them for me here, and I'll see if I can answer them in the time we have left. And definitely join me for that masterclass. So optimal and normal. Normal is what 95% of the population has. Well, 60% of Americans are overweight or obese. So if you're normal, guess what? In America, it is normal to be overweight or obese. Do you want to be overweight or obese? Do you want to be a normal American? No. Most people, if you ask them, say no. I want to be better than normal. So if you want that, then you have to do different tests and you've got to read them a different way for optimal health. And you really should do this at every age. And guess what? If we did this for our kids as they age to be teenagers and young adults, and then our age at midlife, we wouldn't have all the craziness that we have with our health. But because our whole medical system is based on getting people to normal, getting people to be overweight or obese, essentially, that's not what we have. So that's another form of gaslighting, is like the fact that we subsidize our sugar industry for billions of dollars a year. We pay the sugar industry. We subsidize it to make sugary products. We subsidize the corn industry that makes high fructose corn syrup. So our whole food system is designed to create sugar that makes us fat. And then we have the other side of our medical system designed to take medications to medicate people who have symptoms because they've eaten too much sugar. So, and then we say, what's wrong with you? It's your fault. You just don't exercise enough, or you eating the wrong things. So I hope you're getting what I'm saying about the gaslighting situation. This is a total gaslight. So I teach you how in the masterclass you unhook from this insanity, because it's insane when you're dating a narcissist that they're basically making you question your reality. And with the medical system, the medical gaslighting that's going on, they're making you question your reality too. Because like I said, go back to, you know yourself better than anybody else. You know when you feel your best, right? I talked to a client this morning who's been through my programs, and she said, listen, I feel fantastic. And I would have never thought she would have said that years ago. Actually, she started with me less than a year ago, so I think it's been 6 months. And what she said was that she didn't even know how bad it had gotten, but she is also a health coach. She's like a personal trainer with women. And she knew that something was also, even though her doctors were telling her, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Your labs are normal. You just need to change, eat less. And she's like, nah, I'm a personal trainer. She said to herself, I work out, I move, I'm eating pretty healthy. She knew something else was going on. So that's why she ended up in one of my master classes and sought me out. And now she's like, I feel fantastic. So I don't want you to get gaslit. Just say no to gaslighting. I'm going to say it like this. Just say no. And no, stand for your truth. Stand for your birthright. It is your birthright to be an optimal weight, to have energy that buoys you and blesses you and bounds you out of bed every morning so that you're like, yay, I get to live another day of my purpose on this earth, and that you have the mental clarity and focus and the emotional equanimity to do all that you need to do. That is your birthright. If you're not experiencing that at every age, I don't care if you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, or beyond, if you're not experiencing that, something's wrong. So stand in your truth. Mari, I see your question. Come to the masterclass on Thursday. We are going to talk exactly about that hormone level testing. And I will give you all the details on that. So go to my website, KieranDunstonMD.com, sign up for my list. You'll get an invite, or go to the link at the top of the page where you're watching and sign up for the masterclass. And I will talk with you guys again tomorrow. Hopefully you will join us on Thursday for the masterclass, and I'll be back live tomorrow at 12:30. See you then. Mwah.